Welcome back. I'm Dave. Got the new Telecaster going today. Okay, just had this thing about 2 days. It's an American Professional 2 model. I've watched the videos on every kind of Telecaster there is in the last 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm happy with it. I wanted to get one that had rosewood fretboard because I think it's going to show up on the videos better. I could tell it is already, and I knew it would. Just like the 335 that I play does sometimes. I like maple necks on Fenders, Strats, and Teles. But, this is going to be better for us, and I like it. It's got a different feel, and it's got a nice dark piece of rosewood too. Sometimes you get, and it doesn't really matter, but sometimes you'll get like a lighter, or some different streaks of lighter colors in there or whatever. This thing almost looks, sort of ebony-like. So that's really nice. It'll be good for the videos. But, man, I just, I got this thing a couple days ago in the afternoon, and the next day I just kind of disappeared into this room. And you could ask my wife. When you get a new guitar, it's just nothing like it. Anyway, I'm in here just banging around. Of course, I just get my looper going, do my thing, and I'm just fiddling around with all the different pickup sounds and so forth. And I'm used to Telecasters, but they're different. I haven't had a new one in a long time. So it's been really fun. I end up with this, D, A, E, kind of 1, 4, 5 thing, and A. Actually, it kind of starts on the backing track, which I'll have down below. It starts on the 4. I know we're going to leave that dirty sound on. That's the sound that I did the intro solo with. So I don't know. I can clean it up in the box when I'm editing if it's too crazy with the delays and stuff. But for now, I'm just going for it. Kind of like it. Okay. Now, you might have noticed a really familiar melody in that intro. And I didn't plan that. It's just I'm jamming along with this, and, I'm really just, laying down chords and vegging out. And all of a sudden, I'm like, and I was like, oh, I was telling a friend this morning online in a lesson, like maybe it's like a subconscious thing or something, like just with what's going on, in the world and around us right now. A song like that, that's that meaningful, maybe it just rises back up or something. So anyway, if you recognize that, then that's cool. If not, you go back and you'll probably recognize it now that we kind of mentioned it. So we're not going to focus on that, but it's always cool when a really iconic or familiar melody comes up when you're jamming, because, I don't know, for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, this works, and it kind of validates it. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, this chord progression works, right? If it matches a song like that, it's a keeper, right? So just going to talk a little bit about what I did in that intro, and then let you jam on this. Like I said, I have been so into this new guitar thing. I was like, man, I got to get something done this week, besides just fooling around. But sometimes fooling around is exactly what you need, and just get another kind of wave of creativity or something, right? Sometimes getting some new gear can do that. So what I did is I started that solo, even though it starts on D, I started it with a. So theory-wise or construction-wise, the song goes 4-1, 5-1. And what I'm doing, unlike the famous melody, the song that we're referencing here, is I just hold that 5 chord at the end, right? So let's just put the backing track on. Then I'll show you. I want to show you a little bit about this map that I use to play the first part of that solo. So let's get this on here. So here's the chorus. Okay. So the reason I kept going is I was kind of surprised. Like I think I'm playing that. Maybe I played it a few times around. I guess it stuck with me. Like I think that was kind of the way that I went up there, whatever. Here's how it started. Now, it sounds like, out of context of the backing track and the progression, it sounds like this was like all an A lick. Right? And it is. It's like a southern, A lick down here. So you might be thinking like, well, how is that D? When I bend this, when we bend that in the context of an A major triad, of course it's the major third, right? In the context of a D triad, it's the major 7 of that D. And so if you're like, well, this song doesn't sound like a pretty, what you're playing doesn't sound like a major 7 chord kind of thing. And it's not. We're just playing triads for the rhythm. But your ear, right? See, that's the thing, is that you're playing an extension of a 7th, a natural 7th, for that D chord, and that sounds cool. There's a tension to that. I'll show you here real quick, and then we won't go through every bit of this lick by lick, but I'll get you the main map that I'm using. See where we are. Okay. All like D and A kind of stuff. I think of this as A. The song's in A, starts on D, major, but it's in A major, right? It starts on the 4 chord. That's the 5. Okay, and that's a dominant chord in, technically in this progression. Like I said, even if we just play a E major triad there, when we're soloing, that D natural, it's the flat 7. Hear how that goes? It's like from a 5 to a 1. All right. So just, songs like this or progressions like this are really important to just take your time and just see if you can mess around with this A major pentatonic shaping and get to where you can kind of hear the song without the chords. Okay, now the E, you clearly have to go outside. That A and that D, that 4 and 1, there's a lot of overlapping notes that just kind of... That I just showed you the way to the fair, right there. This... That's all like A major pentatonic stuff. That'll work throughout this tune. The thing that your ear really wants to hear, though, for that E is something that really adheres to the chord tones in that particular chord, and it doesn't overlap. You don't have to do anything fancy. Basically, you just jump over and get on an E, cage shape or something, right? Well, there's two ways you can go about it. The first one is what I just mentioned. Get on like a chord for the E. Right? And here's a little example of that. Then I'll show you the second strategy for that E. Then put it all together real quick and get you to your backtrack. Okay, so slow some of that down and just kind of, the first thing you can do is just go right to the chord. So right, and that's how you can train your ear, and use cage shapes. Take your time. And I'm kind of, jumping around here a little bit. So I just want to show you the ideas, but really break that down. Um, okay, remember I'm holding the E for two measures at the end there. You gotta slow down to really get into that, and you'll get it. Just you know, give yourself time to process. You got to get your brain caught up with like where your hands going there, and just use the similar shapes if you want. Just see, let's just swap them out. The other way is to go after that E as its own minor pentatonic, like a blues scale. And so when you and here's a little bit of theory to back that up, just because it's a good little lesson. I won't spend a lot of time on it. But if we're saying that this is the 5, right? So it's 4, 1, 5. Then it's got a D natural in it, the flat 7 for that E triad. So if you when you realize that it's got a D natural, a flat 7 over that E, if you just follow that with your ear, the natural thing is it's going to be like an E minor pentatonic. Okay, don't get confused about what key you're in and stuff. It's just for that chord. So now check this out. And here's where you can really, do some cool stuff that stands out over that when it gets to the E. Nope, I got to restart my backing track here real quick. Just a second. This thing, when you get a new guitar, the action is a lot much higher on this thing than the red Telecaster. And I might adjust it, I might mess around with it, or whatever. But right now, I'm giving it a chance because honestly, my action is too low on some of my guitars. And I do that because it feels good, and I play a lot. It's just it's just laziness. And this thing, I'm getting a lot of sharp tunings and stuff on some of the notes that I'm playing because that action's higher, that nut's higher. It's causing me to just without knowing it, like press down harder and stuff or whatever. And I'm getting a lot of like hangers. I'm getting stuck in places and stuff. But it takes a while to get used to interacting with a guitar, right? I'm not going to run off and have it reset up and all of that unless I really need to. Because, man, the intonation and like the sustain on the bends and stuff on this thing is just, it's great. So, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. It's like I'm gonna have to work on my own game. I'm not gonna blame it on my guitar. But just thought I'd mention some of that. When you get a new one, it really takes time to get used to it. And the way I am, I get a guitar and I play it, man. I played that red thing for 15 years. I mean, and I really liked it. And so, I can see, this headed in the same direction again. It doesn't take much to, get me to get on board with one. This thing has a great feel. So, you can tell I'm excited about it. Don't mean to take up too much of your time here. Check out the backing track. Let me know what you think about this. Appreciate all the support. Be careful out there and just, do the best you can, with people in your community and people in your family and people that you care about and people that you don't even know. We really gotta show up right now. This is getting pretty far out, honestly. I don't say too much about this sort of thing on the channel and stuff. I just don't. But I mean, there's no way you can not say something about it at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, appreciate you. Talk to you next time.